And welcome into the Wednesday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. Hope everybody's off to a wonderful start of their morning here today. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, but really the question is, how are you? How
I'm
are
good.
you today?
I'm good.
You gonna yell at some listeners today?
I can't say that I will. I can't say that
Can't
I won't.
say that you won't, though.
Yeah. Can't say that I won't.
Let's hope. I'm here for it.
My mom called me after the show yesterday. She's like, "You okay?" Like, yep. All good.
That's the thing. I mean, it's great to get it out, you know? Better out than in, Shrek always said.
Feel fine.
Yeah.
It's all
Exactly.
good.
Don't hold it in, man. That's
like,
bad for people.
She was like, "You got pretty mad." I was like, "Well, it happens every now and then, you know. You talk for long enough on a radio show, eventually you get mad." That happened yesterday.
It did.
I went back and watched it
fuse.
just because I wanted to see your face, and it never disappoints. You're just like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to sit here and be quiet for a second."
I should do that sometime. I never do that. Go back and watch.
You want to watch the film?
That would be fun. Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. Let's get in the film room.
Come on. I thought that's what you did before our pre-show meeting every morning.
Well, yeah. Well, but that's a different film.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's true. We got all kinds of different things we can watch.
Kuharsky supplies the film.
Yeah. That's what we want doing that.
Yeah.
Ian
exactly.
Safar, how we doing? Good morning.
Doing great. Thanks. Been beautiful weather out there
this
past week. Just getting outside. Oh, got my computer on. Sorry about that. But doing great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. It's going to get hot again this week.
It is going to get hot.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that you mention it. Jeez. You knew it was going to happen. Man, it's going to get back to the 90s. Okay.
I think over the weekend, early next week, like high 90s. Like it's going to be hot. So it's like, all right. You thought summer was over. It ain't. Yeah, Monday's high is 97. So
hey, there are 11 days left in actual summer.
That's true.
You know, so prepare accordingly. Wow.
That is true. We got a lot to get into on the program today. We'll be joined by Seth Emerson later this hour from The Athletic. We'll look ahead to Tennessee and Georgia with him. An interesting piece from our friend David Ubben that we'll get into later this hour as well, as it relates to kind of viewing through 2 weeks of the college football season, the first quote-unquote trade in college football history. We'll get into that. And then Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us later in the show. We will get into all things Tennessee Titans with him, his thoughts on week 1 against Denver, looking ahead to week 2 against the LA Rams coming up this weekend as well, and the home opener. So we'll get into all that with PK later in the program. And we start on the Tennessee Titans. And I'm throwing the question out there, Joe. Is anybody this week prepared to actually help Cam Ward as they take on the LA Rams? Because I would describe the help that he got on offense against Denver, limited would be the word I would use. Very limited.
Kind word.
Yeah, it's maybe kind word on Sunday for the Titans against the Broncos. And, you know, you look at Ridley, the game that he had, couple of drops that were in there, not very effective in the football game. You know, looking through it, it kind of feels like he was the one that was supposed to get the ball on that screen there as well. So him not knowing where to go is not a good sign. And we've talked about that with him before, Joe, of that was the complaint on him in Jacksonville. We had Mike DeRocco on our show, and he was basically like, yeah, you know, throughout most of the season, there was too many times where Calvin really just didn't know where to be or what to do, and that was a problem. And it felt like that was a problem with him early last year. And then eventually he got it figured out. And you were hoping that wasn't a problem at all this year. And it turns out in the first game, it showed up. So that's where I start this conversation, Joe. What version of Calvin Ridley are we getting on Sunday? Because if they don't get top version of Calvin Ridley, that's not good news for the rest of their offense, the rest of their receiving core.
Yeah, it's so surprising because the chemistry was there. It looked like it was clicking there on the same page, totally different from a year ago. So you had to assume that was two things to me. One, the quarterback switch, and also just Ridley being here longer. Ridley, it's, you know, always emerging as a leader, as a captain, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have some, I guess for lack of a better term, some brain farts that you just can't have on a Sunday. Ridley also just had some drops. I think a couple that were absolutely on him. That were bad drops. I think there may be a drop or two attributed to him that I might say Cam Ward threw the 98-mile-an-hour fastball when he needed to throw the, 85-mile-an-hour changeup on one or two of those. One of them,
don't tell D-Mace that.
Yeah, D-Mace is not hearing it. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not opposed to, like, if it hits you in the hand, you got to catch it. But sometimes I do think that, like, there's probably a little bit on both ends of a couple of those where it's like Cam could probably be a little bit better too. Like, I know we're going to listen to Orlovsky. I mean, I think he counted, like, he said 8 drops. There weren't 8 drops in this game.
He's quarterback evaluating. Every time it's in the general vicinity.
It's always drops. It's never like
it's like a defensive back looking at the film and going through the penalties. Like, I didn't see one. I didn't see any illegal contact or anything.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. No, nothing at all. But yeah, Ridley is definitely overshadowed by his coach, among other things, from this first game. But certainly huge disappointment with his performance in this game. I don't think that means, I don't think it's a disappointment because I don't think this is what he's going to be or is like should be this year. Now, I guess it should be for sure. Going to be, yeah, this is a big week for him, to me, to establish himself as a guy who is I mean, he is the number 1 receiver on this team for sure. And he needs to, like you said, I mean, help Cam where he's the top guy. Protection and then Calvin Ridley. Those two things he has to have both of them to a decent extent, to a decent level to have any chance.
Well, we went through the numbers earlier this week on Ward. 12 of 28, 112 yards. He got sacked 6 times. He got hit 12 times. Quarterback rating of 54.5. Like, your traditional stats with him were not very good. And then you look at, well, there were some drops that you throw in there. The play that we've been talking about all week, had that been a completion and the coach challenged it, that probably helps your numbers on that front as well. So there's definitely different things you can look at. And all these different quarterback evaluators and former QBs and film evaluators and all these people have been looking at the Cam Ward tape this week. And for the most part have walked away pretty impressed by what they've seen.
With him.
And Dan Orlovsky is among those people who have watched the film. He was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and talked a little bit about what he saw from Cam Ward on film. Here's what Dan Orlovsky had to say.
I was like blown away by his tape. I thought his tape looked awesome, dude. Like, he throws Tennessee's got a guy. Like, Tennessee's got a guy. Like, this guy's talent of throwing a football is off the charts. They win the game if they don't have like 8 drops. I counted for that plays awesome. That's like that reminds me of like Joe Burrow-ish type stuff. I just the ability for him to thread the needle on some of the throws and just to cut the ball loose with what he's looking at, I was wildly impressed with. I mean, that defense is awesome. And he made some throws that were, I mean, dude, I got drops on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drops. He cuts it loose, man. He is crazy talented throwing the ball. Now, I'll give you 2 things. Like, yes, there are times when he's got to be like, Cam, you can't take that sack. Like, he takes back-to-back sacks that takes him out of field goal range. He did that in college. He's got to learn from that. He would be my expectation. And there are also some times that he fires the friggin' ball in there. And I'm like, could you have taken a little bit off to help him? He's got the touch. He does. This isn't there's some guys who throw everything as a fastball. That's not that's not the case here. I just did that throw sick. I'm telling you. I mean, he's got. I wish I had B-roll for you guys. He's got 8 drops that you're like, yo, that throw is off the chart. So
that was Orlovsky yesterday on the Pat McAfee show. Pretty high praise from him in terms of his evaluation of Ward and what he saw on film.
Yeah, and again, like you said, Dan Orlovsky, I can't. There aren't too many. Friend of the show. There aren't too many instances that I can recall of Dan Orlovsky saying, "Okay, let's talk about this really bad quarterback play." Now, he just did have I'd say a pretty critical evaluation of Caleb Williams.
Correct.
And again, the continuing just not comfortable on schedule and which might drive Ben Johnson crazy, which
you hate to see it.
We're here for. Yeah, that'd be really tough. But so, Orlovsky he's a quarterback. He's a former quarterback. As Lions fans know well, tremendous play in Lions history when he thought the end zone was 20 yards deep.
Yeah.
But so he's generally, I think, positive, but also I mean, yeah, he's not the only one, too, by the way. I mean, there's a lot around there now that we've gotten into everybody's digested the film and gone through all 22s, people who do that stuff. They're liking what they see. And I agree. I mean, I said that Monday morning before we got into everything. I'm like, look, I mean, watching the guy with his poise, some bad decisions in terms of taking sacks, but with his poise and his arm talent, it's there. I mean, the talent is there for him to be a good quarterback.
And now, how much help's he going to get?
Yeah.
That's I agree. The talent is there, but the Titans offense as a whole has a lot of work to do. And we're going to get another test of the offensive line on Sunday against LA of, can you hold up? Like, can you protect your quarterback? And I think the sack thing, I think as Ward's career goes on, he's going to learn that. Like, he's going to learn how to, like, hey, you can't take that sack in that situation. Like, I mean, I hope so. I don't know how quickly you learn that at the NFL level.
But that is like a Sean Payton.
It is.
It's like, well, so if you do that there, I'm going to.
Although Bo Nick's got his own things to worry about right now based on what I saw the other day.
That's a fair point.
Not very good the other day. But I think at some point he's probably going to learn, situationally, hey, you can't take that sack there. I also think, one of the things that I think it was D-Mace that brought this up yesterday too. And it's like, well, you guys did take a timeout right before that play on one of those sacks. And your coach has got to be like, hey, get rid of the ball here. You can't take a sack. And I'm going to call something and it gets it easy for you to get rid of the ball. So that goes back into helping your quarterback of how much is your play caller helping your quarterback? How much is your offensive line helping your quarterback? I would say neither one of those were very good on Sunday. And when your number one receiver's dropping the ball, that does not help either. Now, one texter says, basically, I'm not that concerned about Ridley. Had a couple of drops. One of them was a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and he's being guarded by arguably the best corner in the NFL, which we knew going into the game there was a good chance he wouldn't produce that much. I mean, the numbers would tell you he didn't do anything against Surtain.
Right. And that's
not surprising
I would have picked
to his point. But, I mean, as we've discussed, until the Titans have other options that step up and fill that void, that's how most teams are going to play the Titans is, let's make sure Calvin Ridley doesn't just burn us back there, and we'll take our chances with everybody else.
Yep. So Gunnar Helm, we saw something. I think we saw something. Chig had a little bit going. Io Manor, I mean, certainly had some opportunities. And again, I mean, he actually made a heck of a catch. That was indeed, by the letter of the law, a catch.
It was.
So, but that's got to be more of that. I do think that if you talk about, young guy, you talk about the rookie class, you want to be positive about the Titans. 4 rookies started, I guess, if you want to consider that with DK, right? I mean, he's a starting returner. And I thought there were good things from all of them. I thought it was more good than bad for all 4 of the rookies who started. So that's a positive. Where does it go? What's the ceiling and all that? I don't know, but it was a good start.
So we're off and running today on Robby and Rexrode. How can the Titans offense better help Cam Ward against the Rams coming up this weekend? Are they going to be equipped to do that against what is, again, a very good defense that they will see on Sunday? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
You touched on Cam. What were some of the things that you liked about him most, and some of the things he's got to do better at moving forward?
Yeah, the things that I liked about him most was just the poise in the environment as a rookie in his first start against that defense. And he was under some duress, and I thought he did a good job protecting the football. He managed the protections. He managed some difficult third downs. Would have liked to see us help him a little more around him. You know, we dropped, I think, 4 or 5 passes that would have helped us a lot. Would have made the day feel a little bit different, I think, had we connected on a few of those. His ability to manage the protection game was really impressive for a young player. I thought that was really encouraging. And then he never got rattled at any point, even though it wasn't certainly our best performance offensively. His ability to continue to battle and stand in there was impressive. And I think we're going to be a lot better for it. There's a lot of things situationally for him, you know, those fringe areas. Him and I, both from a play caller and a quarterback, got to do a better job of making sure we put ourselves in a better position. And not get knocked out of those. We did twice, I think, get knocked out of some range there that we got to do a better job. So it was a good learning experience for me with Cam and a real thing, you know, calm plays for him in a live environment. But all the things that came out of it, I'm really encouraged by and excited about.
As Brian Callahan earlier this week on Cam Ward, what he liked from Cam Ward in week 1. We're throwing it out there. How can the Titans offense better help him here in week 2? Joe, I saw this stat yesterday from Ian Hartitz of MB Fantasy Life. The most unrealized air yards in week 1. So, in other words, total air yards on incomplete targets. I'll go 6 through 1 wide receivers in the league. Tied for 6th, Malik Neighbors and Jamar Chase with 75 each. Tyquan Thornton at 5th with 79. Brian Thomas Jr. at 4th, 81 unrealized air yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba at 3 at 83. CeeDee Lamb at 2 with 116. He dropped about 1,000 balls.
Jeez. And he had 120 or whatever.
There's a lot. At number 1 in the National Football League through week 1 of most unrealized air yards, according to Ian Hartitz, of total yards, incomplete targets. Alec Io Manor, 120 yards. Number 1 in the league.
No kidding.
To which the first response is from our friend Joey Garrison, who says, well, he wouldn't be first had Brian Callahan known the rules of throwing the challenge flag.
Oh, don't bring that up. Not allowed to talk about it. Okay, so just so I'm clear on that stat, though, so unrealized is just any target of a certain that's the target. That's what
there's the
yardage
distance
would have been.
Yep.
Wow.
Number 1 in the league.
So is that again the fact that he actually made one heck of a catch on one of those would have realized how many air yards would have been realized of those 120 right there. That was about 40, maybe.
It's a lot, yeah.
Something like that, right? Yeah. Wow.
Would have knocked him down.
Would have chopped it down. Yeah. Interesting. So, I mean, what does
that tell you? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, just for Io Manor, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I think we definitely learned is like this was not just some like, put the rookie on the depth chart first. I mean, he's a starter.
Yeah.
You know, like he's better. Like that's good. And I don't think that's like we drafted the guy in the 4th round. We better just start him. No, I think he's talented. I think he's got something to give. It's about where I stop because it's one game in. It's not like we saw tons of stuff in the preseason, but you can see it with him. Good size, speed. I think he runs routes pretty well, and he makes catches.
He does.
That are catches.
He does.
In the eyes of some.
In the eyes of some. He does. Here's the other big thing that I'm interested to see beginning today, and somebody on the YouTube chat's already brought this up. What is Latham's availability? It did not sound overly great from Brian Callahan earlier this week, and he basically said that he's one that they're going to have to keep an eye on here. So what does that look like starting today when the injury report comes out? Because, look, they can't afford injuries in a lot of places. They really don't need one of their starting tackles to be unavailable in the second week of the year. That would not be a very good thing for Cam Ward in this offense.
No, and it's not great that this is what he's been dealing with. So then it comes right. And this happens so often, I swear. It's like someone's got a little nagging thing in the preseason, then you play real football, and then, whoa, now it's actually a problem.
Yeah.
Because you don't really exert, strain, all the things with football in the preseason like you do in a real game. And I know, like he was upset on the sideline. He went back in, he came back out. I like today probably expect like a limited or no participation from him.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of, can you get to Friday? And I could see like a questionable maybe, or worse. I don't know, but that's not good.
That would be
because
bad news.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the lack of tackle depth immediately on Sunday when he went out.
Well, and again, I don't know that this is a better defense than what Denver has. It's pretty good. LA Rams defense is pretty good. And I think yards and points, once again, in this one are going to be hard to come by. And it just makes it that much harder if you don't have your starting right tackle out there, who, again, as I've told you many times, like, you're needing to see him take a massive jump this year and to be an elite player. So if you don't have him out there, that's a big problem. I don't know how much you're going to be able to run the ball against the Rams in this game. We'll see. I mean, it was a low-scoring game between the Rams and Texans over the weekend. Both of those teams, I think, have a good defense. The Titans, can they move the ball against this Rams defense? I think it's going to be a tough task there. So you need all the help that you can get, and it becomes that much harder when you're talking about not having your tackle there. So that's a big thing to keep an eye on this week if you're a Titans fan, is what does the availability look like for J.C. Latham? And if he's not able to go, how do the Titans overcome that? I mean, I'm looking at what Houston did on the ground, and they ran it 27 times, 114 yards, 4-2 carry. Not terrible.
That's not bad.
So is there an opportunity there? By the way, Nick Chubb, 13 carries, 60 yards. He was their leading rusher in that game. So keep an eye on that as the season develops. But, I mean, Stroud in that passing attack didn't do a whole lot. I mean, they had, 19 and 27, 188 yards, no touchdowns and a pick in that game against the Rams.
Yeah, the overall production suggests that you score more than 9 points. But still, yeah, I mean the front obviously versing those guys, they're
big problem.
Yeah, they're going to be very tough to deal with. So, if you don't have Latham, then you're going to have to just help the right side all day. And then so Dan Moore,
Yep.
Can you handle your area? And if not, then again, it's just going to look like very familiar lack of protection that we've seen around here for quarterbacks.
Yep, for sure. I'm with you. I thought Gunnar Helm showed some things on Sunday in that game. Can he take another step and continue to be productive there?
It sounds like, but I don't know. They kind of went away from him.
They did.
Towards the end. I mean, he's flashed on that first drive.
I agree.
And nowhere else to be found.
I agree. I'd find the way. I'd target him more. Like, I'd try to find ways to get him the football because, again, until they can find somebody who steps up and can be that reliable target. Maybe it is Io Manor at some point, but teams are going to key in on Ridley. You got to find other targets out there. I mean, Lockett didn't do anything in that game. Is that a one-game thing? Can he be more productive, more dangerous this weekend? You would hope so. I mean, he didn't catch the ball on Sunday, so they're going to have more than that, obviously.
Another veteran Tyler coming on in for the late stages of a career.
Yeah.
No, that's a surprise. That's a surprise for sure. And yeah, I mean, I do think that I think it's there for Gunnar Helm. He's got are they going to get to the point where they've got like a consistent crew producing? I mean, early in the season, you usually see some variance, and then you kind of settle into something.
We'll be joined by Seth Emerson from The Athletic. Coming up next, we'll look ahead to Tennessee and Georgia with him. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. Looking ahead to the Vols and Georgia coming up this weekend at Neyland Stadium. And to help us do that, we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Seth Emerson from The Athletic. Seth, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
I appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. So, Seth, obviously a lot of interesting takes from some Georgia fans on what they've seen from Gunnar Stockton to this point. This will be a true road test for him coming up in a hostile environment in Neyland Stadium on Saturday. So what have been your impressions of Gunnar Stockton to this point, and what are your expectations for him and that Georgia offense as they head into Neyland this Saturday?
Well, it's so hard to say when you play 2 guarantee games at home to start the season. You almost look more back to last year and the 1.5 games you saw of him against Texas in the SEC championship and Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. The first 2 games, the concern about him is he hasn't been throwing downfield much. I wasn't at the first game. I was at LSU Clemson, but I was at the Austin P game because when you have a chance to cover Georgia versus Austin P, you just don't pass that up.
You do it.
Flies open. Let's go P.
Hey, lucky for you, there's a nice weather delay in there too. So extra time.
I knew that I was going to be there a long time. So I just, I said that this is just an opportunity I have to go for. But I watched as there were receivers getting open downfield. So Georgia is calling it, but Stockton just wasn't taking it. He wasn't throwing those receivers. He was taking the checkdowns or he was running. And after the game, Kirby Smart was up front that they want him to stand in the pocket and throw the ball. Not every time, they want him to use his mobility. I think there is going to be a lot of rolling out to use his mobility because the offensive line is a question. But there were other times where they were calling plays where, it's just better receive this year. They added a few transfers, Zach Branch especially, the really dynamic slot guy who was at Southern Cal his first 2 years. Noah Thomas, an outside receiver from Texas A&M. They get Colby, who was on suspension almost all last year. So they've got their usual array of tight ends. So they've got receivers and skill position guys for him to throw to, and they want him to throw to him. So it's going to be interesting on Saturday, the approach, because they want him to do that, but on the other hand, they also want him to take care of the ball. And if they think it's going to be a relatively low scoring game, which history would say it would be between Tennessee and Georgia recently, how much do they want him to push it? But another point, and I'll finish on this. Another point that Kirby has said is that downfield passes are actually they're not as turnover prone. They're low percentage, but you make more mistakes when you're trying the shorter, more intermediate stuff. And I think they want him to open it up and take some shots.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Zachariah Branch, and also those 2 guys. Zachariah Branch, Nate Frazier. I feel like are obviously keys. How good is Branch, and what kind of season is Frazier, you think, going to have?
Well, Branch was really good starting out at USC and then kind of petered out. And so by the time he, along with his brother, Zion Branch, hit the portal, wasn't as big a deal. And so Georgia getting them, especially Zach Branch, has kind of gone under the radar. But the thing with a Georgia offense is they're going to spread it around. So you're probably not going to see him be a 1,000-yard receiver, but he's got that ability. He's got game-breaking ability. The question is whether we're going to see an offense that's going to be, throwing a lot of screens or short passes to guys like Branch and then see what they can do with the ball in space, or whether they're going to be able to turn them loose downfield and hit them. Frazier's their number 1 back. He was supposed to be teamed with Josh McCray, a more bruising guy, a transfer from Illinois, but he's been hurt. I don't know if he'll play. They've got running backs behind them. So they're good at running back and deep, at running back, wide receiver, and tight end. And I think Stockton is fine. I think Stockton can be fine. The question all along has been whether the blocking will be there. The O-line's the question. They were not good on the O-line last year, and yet 3 of the starters from that not good O-line last year started as rookies in NFL Week 1 on Sunday. So, and a 4th one was on a roster, but inactive. So how are you better when you lost that kind of talent? And the O-line has been, uneven blocking wise, but again, it's hard to tell the first 2 weeks.
Well, and to that point, so the right side is banged up too, right? Juan Gaston, Ernest Green. How does that look, and how important is it for Georgia to have one or both of those guys in this matchup?
Green's the more important one. He's a right tackle. He's the more experienced guy. He was a starter when healthy last year. I think he could have played against Austin Peay, but it was Austin Peay. He actually suited up. Gaston's a true freshman that when they don't really start true freshmen, they don't have to on the O-line or really anywhere. So for him to start the first game right out of the bat was a really good sign. Then he gets hurt, so that's not great. But if they should get Green back, but it affected cohesion. They really need to have a 5. And then you can rotate like a 6th or 7th, that kind of stuff. But they needed to be able to keep those guys healthy and develop some chemistry. And so it doesn't portend great things going into Neyland Stadium for Game 3 when they haven't been able to look great on the O-line yet. And it's something that they probably should be game planning around until they get more confidence in the O-line.
So Seth, as you know, Josh Heupel has done a good job of building Tennessee back up. They got in the college football playoff last year. They've taken down Alabama a couple of times under Heupel, but the Georgia matchup has not gone well for them. And last year's game probably closer than the score would indicate, but the bottom line is they've not only have they not beat Georgia under Josh Heupel, they've not come within 1 score of beating Georgia under Josh Heupel. So what do you make of that? What do you make of Kirby Smart and this matchup and the success that he's had, not only in winning the games, but really limiting what Tennessee's been able to do on offense?
Yeah, I have a story on that went up this morning on The Athletic that, gets into, I think, what, a lot of people have pointed out is that Kirby has done best against the Heupel offense. And, there is actually, like other people pointed out, there's a pretty marked difference when you look at what Tennessee has done non-conference versus when they get into SEC and other power conference teams. But, they put up a lot against Syracuse, which is a power conference team, maybe this year. The short version of it is that Tennessee commits to run the ball, and that's a big part of their offense, but Georgia is big on stopping the run. So they stopped the run, and that's essentially what happened in 2022 was they made Hendon Hooker one-dimensional and had to drop back a lot, and Georgia threw a lot at him and sacked him a lot and just was uncomfortable the whole time. But they haven't had Jalen Carter since then. But the last 2 years, Georgia's run defense, while it hasn't been great overall, or at least back to those 2021-22 standards, it's still been good against Tennessee. And so the other thing about it is, the Tennessee offense is predicated on they spread you out. So they want you to spread out your defense, and then that creates running lanes, and they hit you with the run, and they play pace and everything. But Georgia has the talent to play single man coverage. They'll line up your cornerback with you, but they commit their front 7 guys to staying in the box and stopping the run. And they, the safeties play some bend but don't break, keep you in front of you, rely on their red zone percentage, or, get them into some third and mediums and hit them with the pass rush. And so it's just been a good matchup for Georgia, but so much of it is predicated just on having the talent to stop it, and being built to stop it. And we'll see if the 5th game lines up with the 4th game. It's interesting. If you look at personnel, like it should, like Georgia still has, its usual array of talent, 5 stars, blue chips on defense, and Tennessee's got, a transfer quarterback, transfer running back, but look at the results the first 2 weeks, and Tennessee has looked really good. So we're about to find out if, Josh Heupel has finally got a way to figure out this Georgia defense, or whether Kirby just has it figured out.
Who's the next, freak off this Georgia defense? I mean, I know, like you said, 5 stars, a bunch of them go in the NFL, like C.J. Allen, Kristen Miller,
Yeah.
KJ Bolden. Who's the guy that people are going to be like, oh man, look at that guy on Saturday?
Well, several. I mean, it's not like one guy. Christian Miller's a veteran defensive lineman who could have gone pro, but would have probably been like a, second day, third day pick and decided to come back. So that was big for their D line. They've got some other defensive linemen, guys named Jordan Hall and Elijah Griffin's a 5-star freshman. KJ Bolden's the big in the back there. Their cornerbacks, Dalen Everett, also could have gone pro and would have been kind of a fringe second day guy. So he came back. Ellis Robinson's a 5-star recruit a year ago who's getting more playing time at cornerback. And those linebackers, they're really good at linebacker. C.J. Allen, Chris Cole, outside linebacker, Justin Williams, inside linebacker. They've got a lot of guys. They don't have the one guy that turns the whole thing, which makes for that's good for them. But they had even some moments the Austin P game was close because first, Georgia turned it over on the first possession. Nate Frazier fumbled it, and he's had some fumbles issues his year now in college. And then they scored on offense the next 2. So they were on the verge of kind of running away with it, but then the defense started to give up some plays here and there. They kind of got bored, it seemed. And they had some issues like that. I mean, we don't know. It's a loaded defense. It's very well coached, but last year they just were a shutdown great defense twice against Texas, but Ole Miss got them, and Alabama got them in the first half, not the second half. So it's been a defense lately that, has just enough moments of giving up a big play, which when you don't have the offense that you had in 2022, 2023, has been fatal in a couple games.
Well, Seth, it's going to be fun. We're looking forward to the game coming up on Saturday and appreciate so much you taking time to be with us this morning. We will talk to you soon, my friend. Thanks for being with us.
All right. Talk to you later.
Yep. Seth Emerson, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll react to what Seth had to say, plus a very interesting story in The Athletic from our friend David Ubben. Basically, recapping to this point in the college football season, the first trade that we've seen in college football. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. 1025 The Game has teamed up with Pella Windows and the Nashville Humane Association for a puppy pet adoption this Saturday at Pella, 256 East Main Street in Hendersonville from 10 to noon. For more details, visit thegamenashville.com/events. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. Appreciate Seth Emerson for being with us in the last segment. I was telling you off the air earlier in the show, I've somehow ended up on Georgia fan Twitter this week, Joe. And Kirby Smart is like a Jedi. Like, he has done a masterful job of convincing all these people that no one believes in them and that everybody thinks they're going to lose and that they're terrible and they're going 7-5 and they're missing the college football playoff. That's what I've noticed from Georgia fans this week is apparently everybody thinks Tennessee's going to come in and roll them, despite the fact that most people I see picking the game are picking Georgia and Georgia's favorite in the game. So, I mean, congratulations, Kirby Smart, for what he's done to this fan base.
Yeah, he is. He is the Lou Holtz of this era in that way. Lou Holtz was amazing. Like, Rice is a tremendous team, and then they beat Rice, 78-3 or whatever the heck. But and also like the whole disrespect thing. I mean, this team is maybe not. I would say probably not like the level of his best teams, right? Well, and we don't think so. We'll see. But I mean, even those teams, he was trying to say, people were saying 6-6. I mean, what is this? Are we sure people aren't calling this team a 3-9 team?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Look, I mean, the 21-22 Georgia teams,
yeah, I mean,
like they're probably in the conversation of best defenses in the history of the sport. Like, they're pretty good. So, like, that bar, it's tough to
very high,
tough to replicate. But yeah, they're still pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're still loaded with talent, and he's a great coach, and he is. Saban talked about that. I mean, he learned from Saban, and Saban was I don't remember, somebody way back in the day when I was a beat writer, there was a coach who definitely, and again, this is like the days of cutting out newspaper articles, but like actually had like fake newspaper articles put up on the bulletin board. I don't remember exactly it's like, whatever, just like totally made up quotes about how crappy his team was and stuff. I mean, coaches just, they're trying to find everything they can to piss off their own players.
Kirby's in there like telling AI to generate some fake news, some material out there of,
well, those press conferences. Well, now we have these AI press conferences, right? Like I saw Calvin Ridley, I'm total trash, and Ben Johnson sucks too. And I'm like, wow, I guess that's probably fake, right? But it looks real.
Kirby Smart puts like Josh Heupel up there just talking so much crap about Georgia. Could happen. We'll see.
I bet you he does.
I bet he does. David Ubben, friend of the show, came out with a very interesting piece yesterday at The Athletic, basically going through the first trade in college football as through the first 2 weeks of the season. And as we know around here, it's essentially a trade when you think about Nico Iamaleava to UCLA, Joey Aguilar to Tennessee, and we all know what went down in the spring. I want to read a couple of graphs from you just from this piece by Ubben. 4 months and 2 games in, no one upgraded their situation as much as Aguilar, who took the reins of one of the most quarterback-friendly schemes in college football, and no one has taken a bigger hit than Iamaleava. Physically, fiscally, and any other Lee on the board, Iamaleava is at risk of becoming a cautionary tale in the name, image, and likeness era. It's a really good piece by Ubben. He kind of goes through the whole saga here and goes through, why Nico ended up at UCLA and the competing theories as to why that took place and all these different things, but goes through Aguilar and the situation that he's in. And now the opportunity that's coming up for him this Saturday against Georgia. I told you, like, if he goes out there and beats Georgia, I mean, you're talking about immediately, like, just insane celebrity status in Tennessee football lore. So what do you make of Ubben's piece here of the situation for Joey Aguilar, Nico Iamaleava, and how that's returned for him through the first 2 weeks of the season?
Yeah, the numbers here, key numbers, if it's true, there's a reported 1.2 mil. This is what he's making from UCLA in California, 12.3% income, state income tax, also cost of living difference. Whereas in Knoxville, no state income tax, 2.2 million. And again, he wanted to go from 2.2 to 4. I'll say again, the hate watching of Nico. It's like, really, is it still like support your team? Also, another thing to point out, and I think this is where it's like multiple things being true, but our Ira Gorawara, who's an intern for us, wrote a really good story about the Maliava family. And honestly, they let her in more than they have let any reporter in. And trust me, many of us and many others in media have tried, and there's like no, they've been very, very, I think for sure their family was like, they didn't want to be asked about the money for a long time. And then of course it's like, and then certainly don't want to be asked about how you botched the whole situation. But one thing about that story is that his mother is battling stage 4 breast cancer, that's news that I did not know. So like, I don't doubt, again, there's reason to go home. There are good things about going home. That's something, these are human beings. Also, like we were talking about before, it's like they're also negotiating with schools that were not close to home. Yeah. Miami, not close to home. And if they would have
Oregon.
That's at least kind of, but Miami, totally even farther away than Knoxville. So, it's like, the bottom line is there's nothing, they asked for more money. Yeah, I don't doubt that Big Nick also was mad with the support. I'm sure that's true too.
Yeah.
But another thing that Ubben writes is that the belief in the program, the Tennessee program, is that if it was just up to Nico, that he'd still be there, and that there's still a lot of guys on that team, his former teammates, who were close to him. He's a good dude, And that's what I hate about like the whole, you suck, Nico, greedy, burr, burr, burr. Just calm down. His dad botched the situation. There's nothing wrong with asking for more money, but you got to understand the market. And when you perform like you did last year, now we're just repeating what we said before, but when you perform like you did last year, it doesn't warrant a big jump.
Well, and the bottom line is it looks like it's going to end up being an absolute disaster for him. Like UCLA is absolutely terrible. As Jared on the YouTube chat points out, if you watch that game against UNLV, he's getting killed out there. Like it's just
his second half. He was great in the second half.
He was, but he's just getting battered.
Yeah,
out there.
He's the most pressured QB in the nation.
And they're 0-2. They got New Mexico coming up on Friday. I would assume that they're going to win that game, I guess. But look, he plays Penn State in a couple of weeks. Like, that's not going to go well. Look, they're going to end up winning what? 3 games? Somewhere in that neighborhood?
Something
3-4 games this year. And look, I have no idea what Tennessee is. We're going to find out a lot on Saturday. I do think that we have a baseline understanding of like Tennessee's got some talent. It's pretty good. Are they going to be a college football playoff team? I don't know. We'll see what happens on that front. But kind of one of the points that Ubben brings up in the article is, well, you're talking about trying to negotiate with Tennessee, yes, for the money part of it, but also part of it trying to upgrade your situation and trying to get more help on the offensive line, trying to get more help at wide receiver. And you've ended up at a place at UCLA where you just are totally devoid of all of that.
Yeah, it's so losing is one thing, but then not even really being able to, like, again, if you're on a team that has a crappy defense or whatever, and you lose a lot of games, it stinks. It's not fun. But like if you have an offense around you, you can produce, or you can at least like develop as a quarterback, show off your skills, all this stuff.
Yeah.
When you're in a situation this bad, like it's just not gonna, like, it's gonna limit you. And there are already questions about you from NFL scouts. I know we have something too, Ira wrote about, like, sort of the wait and see approach of from Dane Brugler, talking about like NFL scouts and stuff. And it's like, this is just, this is not gonna, this particular year at least, it's not gonna look good. So how are you gonna help yourself?
Yeah.
You need to be in a better situation. Like, no quarterback in a terrible, terrible situation is going to look good.
Technically, he could come out after this year and try to go pro. I just don't think that's. I don't think it's in the cards right now. Like,
no.
It's been so bad, and I don't think it's going to get better when they get into Big Ten play. Right? Like, it's not like, oh, just wait till Big Ten play starts, then we won't be playing, Ohio State and Penn State, who they have to play this year. It's going to be bad for that team.
Yeah, and there's people. Some people have him as like a 3rd rounder, then number 5 QB. And I don't think it's going to go up.
No,
because this year's going to go so poorly for him.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Rexrode's got some questions he wants answered, and we're getting into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Open the $99 yearly Beehive membership with a buzz. It is always about great service. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safari are with you on this Wednesday morning.
You gonna put Charmed on and there's no Alyssa Milano? What's happening?
I'll just give it a minute.
Apparently a hostage situation. What was going on?
Our favorite show in the morning, Charmed, or mine maybe. But yeah, it's always on in studio here.
I think it's definitely more than you. I think Rexrode thoroughly enjoys it as well.
It's definitely better too with when in the era of Rose McGowan as opposed to
Shannon Doherty.
Yes. God, get her off the show.
She's off, so you're good.
Yes. Okay.
Second half, I guess.
Get her off the show.
There was a move, a switcheroo at some point during the franchise there.
So
what a great show.
Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us later in the program. We will get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. His thoughts on the Brian Callahan saga this week.
We're allowed to talk about that today?
Oh, we're going to.
Oh,
As I said yesterday, we're going to do it.
throw caution to the wind.
It will happen.
Get ready, text line.
His thoughts on week 1 against Denver. Look ahead to week 2 coming up against the LA Rams. Rexrode has some questions. I have no idea where he's going with it, so I'm excited to find out. Rexrode, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I had this idea to kind of get through some questions. I had some questions in my mind, so like, why don't I ask a few, and then we'll hit some quick answers, and then we can talk about whatever. So okay, here we go. So give me your quick answers. This is like first instinct standardized test, right? Whatever your first instinct is, just go ahead. Okay, are the Kansas City Chiefs definitely still a top 3 team in the AFC?
Yes, they are.
Man, I kind of want to say no, but with Mahomes there, I have to say yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm also yes. Okay, we all agree. Can switching to Jackson Dart save Brian Daboll's job?
Yes, if Jackson Dart is really good. I think he would have to come in and play really well, though. If he comes in and is just okay, I think they're going to be bad.
They have to make a wild card run.
I think they're going to be bad.
Yeah.
I think they're going to end up being one of those.
I think Russ is cooked.
4-13, 5-12.
They need to make the
teams.
change just for people to care about the team right now.
So does that save his job or not? Can it save
like
his
past this year?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm not saying I think he has a chance to be in season fired. But
if he makes a change and they make a run to the wild card, I'll say yes.
All right, I'm saying no. All right, what team is going to end up with the?
Brian.
Sorry, Brian. Which team's going to end up with the number 1 overall pick?
The New Orleans Saints. They are awful. Their quarterbacks right now are Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. The rest of their roster is terrible. They have terrible salary cap issues. They are going to be terrible. The New Orleans Saints picking number 1 overall, and I don't think Arch is going to come out.
Ian? Yeah. And
I don't know if they take him right now if he did.
I don't. Right, exactly. And he wouldn't be the number 1 pick, and maybe it would be for them. Just we got to
get Arch. We got to get Arch.
No, I'll go Saints. I almost picked the Titans, though.
I thought about him. I'm going Saints, too. All right, will Justin Herbert be a tier 1 quarterback when this entire season is over?
No.
I also go no, because I don't think that they're going to win in the playoffs. So when they don't win in the playoffs again, we're just going to be talking about the same old thing with them. If that's good, he puts up a lot of really good numbers, but they don't win. I think it's what we're going to be talking about at the end of the year.
I'm prisoner of the moment, so I'm going to go yes.
Okay.
It's one game, but man, he was so good against the Chiefs in that game. I'm like, you know what? It's not like he hasn't been really good, and like this happens sometimes. You take that step, and maybe again, even with that offensive line banged up, you have the right things around you. So I'm going to go yes.
Okay.
Which Harbaugh would you choose as your coach, Jim or John?
I will go John. Even though
I will go John too.
As you pointed out, Joe, like if you really dig into the numbers, some of the blown leads they've had is pretty eye-opening, right? Like they have not handled some late game situations very well over the last few years. And I think Jim Harbaugh is a good coach. I still need to see if he's a great coach. I do think, John Harbaugh has put together a long enough run of consistency at this point where I know that he's a pretty great coach. But I am concerned about the way that they have just absolutely torched some of these games and leads.
Jim's a little too goofy for me. Obviously the players like him, and it's cool and slapping the helmets and the shoulder pads, and they all seem to get into it. But I will go John.
He's a good cheater too. Yeah, you gotta go John. You gotta go John.
I was really hoping you'd say Jim.
Yeah, I mean, I even asked the question because honestly,
Well,
that's
here's the stat.
That's what is the stat exactly?
John Harbaugh has blown 17 double-digit second half leads.
That's a lot.
That is 17. Double digit. I mean, double digit leads. I'm sure a fair amount of those are like,
He's been there for a long time.
10-point lead in the third quarter, I guess, but still.
The NFL.
He did absolutely screw them over more than, I mean, Derrick Henry's fumble was the play, but that game could have been an absolute laugher if he looked at the clock and said, you know what, let's do a little bit more to these guys, then start just, thinking about the clock.
You think the Ravens will play any close games this year?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Maybe they'll get blown out every game now after that one. All right, who will finish second to the Packers in the NFC North? I hope you like that question.
I don't like that question.
Oh, come on.
Vikings.
I'm going Lions. I think Lions still end up being second in the division. I'm concerned about their O-line at the moment, but I think it'll still be the Lions.
Yeah, it's the Vikings. Wrong.
No consideration
Vikings
given to the Lions. None.
Most overhyped preseason team based on week 1.
I mean, based on week 1, the Bears, as always. It's the Bears. It's Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams. They're going to figure it all out.
Hard to disagree with the Bears.
I'm going the Bears. I mean, the Bears are always overhyped. You know who else I thought about? I thought about the Chiefs for a second. I was like, they look pretty bad for a lot of that game.
Yeah. But it's interesting too because I do feel like people are a little
That's
why
other teams.
People are like there's a lot of
other
people
teams
that are
in the division.
Yeah,
people are more into the Ravens and Bills, which I get. I'm going to go Broncos. I'm going to go. I mean, I love the Bears. I love the Bears answer, but I'm going to go Broncos. I mean, look,
they won, so it gets overlooked, but they got lucky.
Yeah, and look, they turned it over 4 times, so they can look at it and say, "We did all these things. We're better than that." Bo Nix looked bad.
he did.
How much credit do you give the Titans defense? I give them some. It was a good week for the Titans defense. I was very impressed overall with what they did on defense. And so I give them some credit, but man, Bo Nix.
A couple of those decisions he made were gross. Yeah.
Alarming. Most undervalued preseason team based on week 1.
Ian, you got one?
Could it be the Rams? I mean, people are picking them to go to the Super Bowl, so maybe not. But, I mean, they handled Houston. Pittsburgh is up there.
I thought about them, too.
That's a good one.
I mean, Chargers also looked good, but people were talking about them.
Jacksonville?
Ooh, you going to go Duval?
Yeah, they look good.
Okay.
I watched some of that game. Look good.
All right.
Duval.
I mean, the Colts and the Jags had awfully good. If not, Ian probably would have had a 6-0 week with 7 points on us. So I'm going to go Raiders. Okay. I watched a lot of that game, and it was very disappointing from the New England perspective, very disappointing from a Drake May perspective, but Geno's good. Geno is good. Pete Carroll is a great coach. Genty, I know that he didn't have great numbers, but there were also a few runs where you're like,
he got the ball a lot.
And Bowers is a stud.
He got hurt. Do we know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. But I mean, they are going to be, and I'm not going to sit here and say the Raiders are going to finish ahead of the Broncos, but like those two teams, when they play, those are going to be good games. That's I think in that division, you've got, again, man, the Broncos being overhyped seems to be a real thing in the NFL in recent years.
Day to day with Brock Bowers, by the way. Day to day.
Okay, nothing serious. We probably would have heard if it was bad.
Yeah. Derrick Henry over 1,750 rushing yards this year.
Over.
Didn't even have to hear the number.
Yeah, over. It's
That's a huge number.
Well, I understand. He just put up 170.
I know.
Against the Bills.
I know.
He always crushes the Bills.
Yeah, for whatever reason, he does.
I mean, how much is Sean? How many coaches? I'd like to know. Coaches destroyed by running backs. Sean McDermott and Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
My God.
Well, I mean, that first touchdown run he had when he just stiff-armed old guy. And
I mean,
well, that's it.
that came to
he's
mind.
still there.
If you're
There
a
he
Bills
is.
fan in the stands, I was like, man, you're a Bills fan. You're watching Henry run again. All these taking him to the house. Like, you got to be sick.
Do you see the picture of like him getting the end zone as a Bill? I assume a Bills fan
Yeah,
has
through
the beer
something.
exploding around him.
Yeah, tell the Bills crowd dial it back a little bit. You know?
Yeah, I guess I got into
Yeah.
it with
Dial
Lamar
it back.
too.
Yeah, calm down, Bills. I'm gonna go over 2, but it was really like I was like, that's a big number. Like if he has 1,500 yards, that's a great
I know.
season. You know, you figure maybe
I'm done doubting him until I
Yeah.
see until he gives me a reason to.
he might freaking be the all-time leading rusher. Like he actually might do it. All right, another one just for you, Robbie. Micah Parsons, 12.5 sacks, over or under?
Over lock.
What, did he just have one this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 29 snaps. Yeah. He's going to end up with about 15 sacks this year.
Yeah. I'll probably take the over.
All right, I'd probably set it too low. Over for me too. So there you go. See,
No pressure, Micah.
Questions
Yeah.
and answers.
Just get out there and
Yeah, just go out there.
over
and
12 and a half
Get
sacks.
20, man.
Yeah.
Get 20.
We'll see how it goes. Rexrode has more questions on the college football front. We'll get into that coming up
Same
next.
thing.
Paul Kuharsky
Different
will be
sport.
with us later in the program. Got a lot of things on the Titans to get into, obviously, with him. We'll do that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Later today on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, the Sounds taking on Gwinnett at First Horizon Park. First pitch at 6:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Also check out the Commodores on the road again, taking on South Carolina this Saturday. Pregame at 5 o'clock, kickoff at 6:45. Vanderbilt football brought to you by Gary Force Acura and Smoky Mountain Tops. Rexrode has more questions, this time on the college football front.
Okay, here we go. If you were Alabama, would you hire Lane Kiffin or John Gruden?
Lane Kiffin would be my answer.
Quick answer.
Quick answer.
If those are the two choices,
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm giving you two choices.
Kiffin.
See, this question wasn't good enough. I know I'm Kiffin too.
I think Bama fans a lot of Bama fans would say Gruden.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kiffin.
That's already started in Florida too, by the way.
Sure. The groomers.
Just get Gruden down to Florida.
Isn't it nice? You're a Tennessee fan. You're just like, yeah, groomers. Yeah. Groomers can go everywhere else. Don't have to
very
go to
happy
Knoxville.
that other people are talking about that. Yes.
If you were Florida, will you hire Alex Golish or Matt Campbell?
I would probably go Campbell.
I'll go Campbell first, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goal. I mean, that seems like a big jump, right? USF to Florida.
I think Golish is going to end up
Maybe
being really
he just
good.
beat their ass.
Yeah. That's
you
true.
know,
Maybe there's a in between there for Golish for a couple years.
Despite
I don't know. Maybe USF is that program.
Despite Matt Campbell's idiocy when it comes to looking at his schedule and evaluating strength of schedule, I do think he has demonstrated to be a pretty good coach. So I would go him.
Just wait till he looks at his SEC schedule.
Yeah,
what's he going to say about that?
Yeah, he'd probably fall over.
That might be worth it just to hear him talk.
Or he'd be
just to have
totally
him in the
relieved. Like,
league.
thank God we don't have South Dakota on this schedule. We just got Alabama. It's all good.
My team is embarking on the equivalent of entering the Korean War with our schedule. Thank you. All right, who's your Heisman pick among Garrett Nussmeier, Lenoris Sellers, John Mateer, and Jeremiah Smith?
I will go John Mateer. John Mateer would be my answer.
Okay.
I'll go Smith.
Yeah, that was my preseason pick. Jeremiah Smith.
I know where you're going now.
I'm gonna go Nussmeier.
I knew it.
And just because he's already got that win at Clemson under his belt, I think he is the best QB, and I think they're gonna win a ton. Will Clemson ever win another national title under Dabo?
No, they will not.
I don't think so either.
That question wasn't very good either, because that's also a quick no for me. It's funny,
but you hate Dabo.
I don't hate Dabo. He just can be very annoying. Will Brian Kelly ever win a national title?
No, he will.
I hope not.
I certainly hope not.
I think that answer is very, like, a lot of college football fans would give that exact answer. It's just like, please, no. Please,
but hey,
no.
If he wins, even if it's not national championship, but like if you look around this year and they're like 9-1 or whatever it is, he's going to be so smug. Like it's just going to be so smug. But no, he's not winning the national championship.
I'm going to say no also. I think he's going to screw it up, frankly. But again, is that analysis or is that
hope?
Hope. He's not the greatest. He's not the best. Okay. He's not the most likable guy. Will James Franklin ever win a national title?
No,
I don't think so either.
That was like a no. Come on.
No.
Yes, this year.
No.
I've said it already.
You're still feeling it.
Yeah, they look crappy right now on offense, and they're sluggish. But yep, I do. I think that they have the team to do it. And all the stuff about him as a coach, I get it. Almost all those losses were just superior teams. It's hard to be better than Ohio State. This year, on a rare occasion, he's better than Ohio State. All right, if you're Tennessee and you could have Diego Pavia right now as your quarterback, would you take him?
The Vols, just a swapperoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about quarterback trades.
I think he'd do well.
I'll say yes.
Sure. Why not?
Ask me again Monday.
It's funny because I'm saying no. Now that's just because, like, does his skill set fit that offense? I mean, I think he'd be fine in it.
Yeah.
He'd be fine. He'd be fine in it. But I don't know. I guess I'm just I'm Team Aguilar already,
very
man.
good. Again, ask me on Sunday. We're going to find out a lot about the answer to that question this weekend.
What's the most unwatchable program in college football?
Iowa football.
No, Iowa they're up there.
They are allergic to offense. Iowa's the answer.
Kentucky impressed me a little bit, so I'll have to move them. They were an SEC candidate probably.
But you're going Iowa?
I don't know. I mean, I'll stick with Iowa just because it's boring. Nothing really stands out.
It's absolutely the right answer.
Yeah, nothing
it's
stands out right
the
now.
right answer. Iowa is absolutely
Oklahoma State.
And they brought in Mark Gronowski. Well, but I mean, they're terrible, but like Iowa's good, but they're just so freaking unwatchable. They bring in Mark Gronowski, and it's like, this guy, look at what he did. At, is he South Dakota State? I get so decoded with those programs.
That's Matt Campbell.
But he comes in there, and it's like, oh, look at the numbers. This is going to be 7 for 16 for 83 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 pick. It's just freaking set your watch to it. It's absolutely mind-numbing.
How have they not lucked their way into good offensive play at some point?
Well, the thing is, and of course, Kirk Ferentz now, his son has came through and he's out, and they changed it. Look, I mean, Kirk Ferentz been there forever, man. I was darn near a student when he started at Iowa. I was freshly out of college. I mean, I remember a Saban Michigan State team beating him 40-0, but he had Brad Banks at quarterback in 2002. They were freaking awesome on offense. He had Ricky Stanzi at quarterback in 2008, 2009. They could score. He has had offenses, but it's now at this point, he just will they just cannot figure out any way to be remotely dynamic or fun to watch.
Drew Tate.
It's brutal. Yeah, Drew Tate. Yeah, Drew Tate threw that bomb to beat Saban and LSU in the bowl game.
Yeah.
They have had offense.
So what happened?
I don't. It's over. I don't know. And
Tight end, right?
And he's
true.
they churn out pros, but my God, it's bad. All right, what's the team you will always watch if they're on, regardless of the matchup? Because they're fun to watch.
I got a random answer for you, and this goes back to the early days of my childhood. If Hawaii is on and they're playing at home, I'm watching.
June Jones.
I'm watching Hawaii.
Okay. Well, they're back to the
Colt
Timmy
Brennan
Chang running
slinging it around out there.
Timmy Chang's back running that offense.
I've always especially if it's November, I'm like, man, it'd be nice being Hawaii watching some college football right now. For whatever reason, every time I see Hawaii on, I'm like, yeah, let's watch Hawaii for a minute.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I always used to like Air Force or Navy. The
offense
stuff.
Oh yeah,
He's just the running kind of thing.
That's a great call.
I always thought that was kind of fun.
Navy now. I mean, they're good. They could be the Group of 5 playoff team. Blake Horvath, he can actually throw it, and they run that stuff. That's a great call. I also think right now, just because I love watching their offense, Vanderbilt's there. But for me, it's Oregon. Yep. It's amazing to me if you think about it, because Will Stein is a hot name. He's another guy who's going to get a head coaching job. Stilly's buddy, Will Stein, out there in Oregon. And Dan Lanning's a great coach. But it's kind of wild if you think about Oregon for the past, what are we talking here? I mean, we're talking
Chip Kelly.
Yeah, we're talking close to 20 years of, really about 20 years of them being just they're just always, it's the uniforms and it's the creativity on offense, and there's been some ups and downs, but for the most part, they just are fun. You know, it's to me, they are the anti-Iowa. They are just going to be fun, and Iowa's never going to be fun. All right, finally, who would win a fight between Brett Bielema and Ed Orgeron?
I'll go Coach O. I think he gets Coach O will fight dirty. I think Bielema kind of stand up. We'll get there. He's just try to square up normally. Coach O, you never know what he might pull. So I'll
you don't think Bielema can fight dirty? Bielema's
I think Coach O
gets you in the mud, man.
I think he could get you in the mud. I think Coach O knows some things.
That's a tough one. But I don't know. The Cajun, something extra about the Louisiana alligator Cajun.
Well, Brett Bielema is on my list. He had the opportunity to smash Shane Beamer last year and didn't take it. So
yes. I mean, he would be forced to fight in this scenario. He's 10 years younger. Bielema's 60 or 55. Orgeron 60.
Bielema's huge.
Bielema's huge, but I'm going to go with you guys. Or Edo is he would gouge his eyes out. that was gross, but I mean, he will do something horrific to him.
Is he going to coach again? Somebody going to hire him again?
I don't.
He said he wanted to coach.
I mean,
He's getting the itch.
He should come be somebody's, like offensive assistant or whatever. Just be on the sideline yelling at people. Why not? Make a little money, be around football again.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Derek says, thanks for solidifying the hell that us Iowa fans have lived through the last 10 years. It is pretty special.
I'm sorry.
I will never forget that the bowl game between Iowa and Tennessee, where it's like, I don't know that they can throw a forward pass. I don't know that they can do it.
Awful.
615-737-1025. We'll get back into the Titans coming up next. Got the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up later this hour. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. This week's Nashville's best deal is Mellow Mushroom. Mellow Mushroom Pizza, a stone-baked with fresh ingredients, next-level imagination, and limitless options for customization. A higher order of pizza, you know and love Mellow Mushroom. Get half off a $30 gift card while supplies last at thegamenashville.com/deals. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us later in the program. We will get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. We got the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up here in just a few minutes. Joe, one of the things we talked about was how much more can the Titans help Cam Ward than they did certainly in week one. It's going to require more. Hopefully we see more on Sunday against the LA Rams. You know, running game obviously will be a big part of that, but I'm just looking defensively right now. If you're game planning against the Titans, yes, they have a rookie quarterback, and teams, especially early in the season, are going to continue to try to throw some things at Cam Ward to try to confuse him, to try to create some turnovers that way. I thought for the most part against Denver, he did a pretty good job of taking care of the ball, right? Like he didn't put the ball in danger all that much. So I thought that was encouraging in week one. You know, can he do that again in week two? We'll see. And then, you know, we went through Ridley earlier. I think he's certainly going to see some easier matchups moving forward than he did on Sunday when he was matched up against Surtain in that game. Does he run the right route? Like, are we done with the Calvin Ridley brain fart out there that we saw on Sunday of you got three guys out there blocking on screen and it looked like clearly he was the one that needed the ball? Like, is that over with? Is that a one-game thing? Or are we going to be talking 2-3 weeks down the road of, you know, Calvin Ridley having one or two plays per game where he's either dropping the ball or not where he's supposed to be? Like that cannot happen on Sunday. Cannot happen with Ridley.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like there was so much optimism in the preseason just because they obviously had a connection. And it certainly got better at the end of last year too. So you're kind of like, okay, so whatever happens, you know, first year Calvin Ridley, now he's been here enough time and he likes the quarterback. Not saying he didn't like the last quarterback, but I mean, did he really like playing with the last quarterback? I mean, yeah, I'm guessing probably not all the time. But also last year, I think there were some things that were just flat out on Ridley too, right? So then you have this, and it's like, how do you make, if that is true, what you're saying there, if that is true that it was Ridley, man, you'd rather it be one of the rookies, wouldn't you? Like, yeah, that made that mistake and didn't know that they were supposed to get the ball. Yeah, I think one of the drops was egregious, and it was a big moment too. And it's like, oh, you have to have that one. There was one that I was like, that thing was coming in about 1,000,000 miles an hour. But regardless, Ridley's got to be a huge difference maker. The Broncos obviously took him out of a lot of that game because they have a corner who can erase just about anybody in this league. Maybe not everybody, but the top like handful of receivers. And Ridley's not close to that. But man, he needs to be absolutely back to. He needs to be getting 12 to 14 targets Sunday, and he needs to make 8 to 10 catches. And like, you know, I mean, that's a high bar, but like I think that's what this offense is going to have to have.
If he doesn't, like, if you're not trying to get him the ball 10, 12 times a game, and he's not, you know, pulling in 7, 8 of those, I just again go back to who's catching the ball on offense. Like Io Manor, we'll see as that continues to go throughout the season, but I just think that they're so limited with their pass catching right now. So he's got to be a huge part of it. And the thing is, defenses know that. Like, defenses know that he is the threat out there offensively in terms of throwing the ball. Like, nobody on defense right now is scared of Alec Io Manor. Maybe they eventually get scared of Alec Io Manor, but they're not right now. Nobody's scared of Tyler Lockett at this stage of his career. Nobody's scared of Chig and Gunnar Helm at this stages of their career. So we'll see. Like, it's got to be Ridley. And when it's almost a 0 from him, like it was on Sunday, it just makes the passing game so difficult. Like, it makes it so hard to move the ball through the air. And that's already a problem. And then you factor in the protection and what that looked like on Sunday. And you're talking about, I mean, that's why your penalty yardage and your offensive yardage were just pretty much the same number. I mean, we talk about the penalty yards, how bad it was, and it was 131 yards in penalty yards is insane, and you can't win that way. Also, like 133 total yards of offense in an NFL game, it's hard to do. Like, it's hard to be that inept.
Yeah, which one of those numbers is actually worse? The penalty yards is bad, but that output, and that we just were talking about Iowa football. My goodness.
Yeah. Like that's
I'm getting
what
flashes of
that's what
Iowa
that's what
football.
it tells you. Yeah. So, and again, like I know Denver's defense is good, but guess what? Defense you're playing on Sunday is pretty good too, right?
You got Byron Young
that
coming
Colts
in on
defense looked really good in week 1. Now, I don't know how much of that is their defense and how much of that is Miami is just a mess right now. But I mean, that's what they look like. They look good
you.
on the defensive side of the ball.
And they have some talent, certainly. But yeah, the Rams, Braden Fisk and Byron Young and Kobe Turner and Jared Verse.
They're very good.
Yeah, they've done a great job. When they finally started embracing, like, okay, I guess we should draft some people. They've done a great job of drafting people on that side of the ball. And there's a lot of potential issues when it comes to blocking the Rams. I would even argue maybe more players that you worry about with the Rams, that not necessarily a better overall defense, but more players you worry about in the front 7 than the Broncos. So that's not a great matchup, especially when your right tackle is questionable or whatever he is this week. I mean, certainly he's a big question.
Well, and then your defense did a good job against Denver of keeping you in the game, right? Like they, forcing turnovers. They kept the score down against Bo Nix and that offense. And I know the Rams only scored 14 this past Sunday in a defensive struggle in their win against Houston. But I mean, Stafford apparently is okay with the back at the moment. We'll see how that holds up. But you're talking about an offense with Stafford, Kyron Williams in the running game, and then, Puka Nacua had 10 catches for 130 yards in the game. They've got Devontae Adams. Like, they got Sean McVay dialing it up back there. So is it realistic to think that your defense can keep the Rams to like right around 20 points this week and keep you in the game that way? Or is this going to be one of those games where if you want to hang in there and win and have a chance to win, your offense is going to have to put up 24, 27, somewhere in that neighborhood?
I mean, if that's the case, then you're not going to win. I would that's
agree.
not the type of game that they're going to win. I mean, they need Denard Wilson to have another really good week and his defense have a good week. They had a really good taking the ball away.
Yeah,
that's a thing. So Titans consistent issues through different coaching staffs and front offices. The never scoring in the second half, never scoring enough at all, not being able to protect the quarterback, and also not taking the ball away on defense. And that's one thing that was different in week 1. So I think that they're going to have to lean on. Right now, I'm going on 1 week. I like their special teams and their defense. I hate their offense. So I think that's going to be the formula. Can you scrounge together high teens to 20? Can you scrounge that together?
Don't get crazy over there.
You may. Yeah. I know. I don't want to. And then I think you have a chance. I don't know what Houston's going to be this year, but giving up 9 points to Houston in the opener, that's pretty good.
Yeah, they got to get the Rams are good. If Stafford's healthy, the Rams are going to be right there with everybody else in the NFC.
What did Devontae do in the first week, by the way?
Not much. I think he had 4. Let's see here. He was
involved, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Puka had a big game, I know.
Yeah, Puka
he's
left.
A hell of a player.
He left with the concussion protocol check.
He did, and then
came back in. He got rocked and was bleeding, I think, even, and came back in the game. So I guess he passed. So we'll have to see. Maybe he pops up on the injury list or something. Puka.
Devontae had 4 catches, 51 yards. So
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. No, they have a chance to be right there in the NFC, I think. And
I picked them to get the Super Bowl. We'll see.
You did.
Yeah.
And the Titans don't. But doesn't mean they can't beat them in one game. Brian Callahan could use it.
Yes,
Boy,
he could. Yes, he could.
Oh, sorry, I brought him up. Sorry to bring up Brian Callahan.
How dare you talk about the coach? The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
I would take Manning blood and drip it around the Titans practice field if I could.
You're such a dumbass, Kuharsky.
Any Manning secretions,
Any Manning DNA.
haircut. If they get a haircut, I would scoop up the hair.
Have you ever, Paul, overestimated a quarterback?
Like, what about a foot bubble for that?
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
All right, bubble boy.
And I do think this offensive line is built to pound.
The Manning sperm bank at
I would give them that.
Your workload.
Champ Bailey available this week, or I mean, we'll figure out whatever we think is best this week, Paul.
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Rise up to better health. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar, Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com with us on the program.
Hi.
That left me thinking, have I ever overestimated a quarterback?
Has it happened?
That left me thinking that we should, is it Conan or was it Letterman did the If They Mated, where we should have like like an Arch and Kuharsky mashup, there's a lot of talk of Manning and
secretion,
procreating and whatnot. I feel like the rant should be about that now.
Who'd they play? Like Northwestern, Mississippi State the second week?
San Jose State, but sure.
Yeah.
And did not cover. Thank you
and
very
now,
much.
have you seen all the stuff with that? It's like he's wincing when he throws his shoulder. And Sarkisian's like, well, if I ever saw you guys going to the bathroom, I might see the same thing.
Yeah.
That was pretty good, Sarkisian.
I've seen PK's weekly tweet of finding a college football matchup. Like last week it was Ohio State, Grambling State. He's like, I'm glad they played that game. That was necessary.
Yeah, I'm going to do a necessary tweet every week.
I like it. And I like that. I support that. Well, I figured that you'd be here screaming already. I didn't really have a great rant prepared, but I do want to talk. I'm going to.
I mean, I thought your questions were excellent, but now
thanks
that you come and that was entertaining radio, but now you're like, well, I did some work and then
that's
the rant period arrives and I don't really have any.
But don't worry. I can be nimble and adjust. And I
can be nimble. Says the guy with the amputated foot.
Right. Aren't you impressed?
By the way, if you
show me the nimbleness.
By the way, go to Functional Medicine of Tennessee.
Shut up and I will. What's that?
Go to functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. You've got some foot problems.
Yes. Julie, they'll take care of you. Fantastic people. I can attest. Now, first of all, I would like to point out that last night I texted Kuharsky when it was Yankees 2, Tigers 2 on national TV. And
national TV, like that's a thing that matters.
Well, it was a nationally broadcast game. The whole nation got to see the Tigers and the Yankees play
tonight on ABC.
You otherwise couldn't see them.
Well, but I'm just saying it was on TBS, so it was like you didn't have to have some special baseball package to watch. It was on national TV, and the Tigers put up 9 runs in the 7th. You couldn't get the TV, and I was like, Paul, you can give the TV back to Teresa.
I sent him I didn't have to give it back. The Phillies were on. I was reduced to my iPad on my lap. I mean, the Yankees, when they fall apart, I mean, would they throw 3 wild pitches or pass balls in a row with the man on third?
Oh, it was so fantastic.
I mean, it's like Little League.
Oh, it was, and then it was like the whole and they finally got it out. Good job, Yankees. That was great.
Pathetic.
That's right. Teresa's a Yankees or a Phillies fan. What does she think of the balls grabbing Karen?
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
That was getting clipped.
You know what I'm talking
I'm
about.
Not repeating that. The yeah, like everyone in America and on planet Earth, she's against her.
Good. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
She's not the lone wolf that's like, yeah, Karen, you go get that ball.
Good job. Ready to show some force.
Yeah, I thought Harrison Bader was great. I mean, he really dressed her down. He's like, yeah, America needs to rid themselves of these kind of people. And I mean, what was the woman's case? Has the woman spoken?
I don't know.
I haven't seen. I need the guy to explain when she comes up and he's like,
"Yeah, let's be a little less panicky."
What is that?
Yeah. He gave in a little too quickly, but I think he was like, "I'm just not dealing with this BS."
Yeah, just take it.
All right,
get thou away from me.
All right, I have a point here. So it's actually a sequel. It's a sequel to yesterday's rant about the AP poll. So now, of course, I do that before we have the huge controversy in all of college football.
Kind of a soothsayer you were yesterday.
I know. It's like, gee, why couldn't I have done this one day later. So first of all, I want to make sure I get her name right. She covers USC. Do we have her name? This is me being unprepared. This is me not being nimble. She covers USC. Okay.
Haley Sawyer.
Thank you. She was asked, and I don't even know, the question is bizarre. It is some kind of a podcast. But long story short, she completely proved my point yesterday. South Florida beats Florida. And then in her ballot, she moves Florida up 2 spots. Florida moves up from the loss to South Florida. South Florida is not on the ballot. That's absurd. And then there's an explanation.
But as far as what my votes are and what my process is, I wake up early in the morning after covering a game late in the night before. Don't want to go too much into my progress or process or logic, but I will say I appreciate everybody's interaction on social media and all of your feedback. There's tons of people that vote on the AP poll, and it's not a perfect system, but at the end of the day, no matter who you pick, it does even out because there's so many people who vote. And like I said, it's really fun for discussion. It doesn't, probably matter in the end, but I'm glad that people are having a really good time with it.
Okay.
So she's got no logic.
Yeah. So look, but here's the bigger problem. So everybody's all over her, and it's a bad ballot. And again, I've had bad ballots. But here's the most likely reason that you have a bad ballot. And this is the biggest thing that they have to change. Like with the Heisman we've talked about, you got to cut it way down, okay? And we need to get – there's just too many people who vote for some of these things who are just going to do Homer stuff too. But you cannot have beat writers voting in the AP poll, especially beat writers on the West Coast. It's the worst if you're a beat writer, and Paul has covered a football team for a long time, Rob, you cover a hockey team. I was a beat writer for a long time. You pay attention to stuff that relates to that team. I mean, there's a difference between the pros and college too, right? At least pro sports, the league is confined to 30-ish teams, and you have a pretty good grasp on it. College football, you don't know. And you don't know what the hell's going on elsewhere. You are completely single-minded covering your team. You need to only have regional, national, whatever media people who vote on it, and you can whatever. I mean, are there enough of those? I guess that would be an issue. But beat writers should not be asked, and most of the people who vote are beat writers. It's stupid. So I'm now.
I agree with that, especially college. But I mean, I used to be part of ESPN's, whatever the ranking is for 32 that they make a big deal out of, and I find it difficult to vote. And they sometimes wanted you to push it against Monday Night Football, and I would stay up, say the result of this game has a bearing on my vote, and tried to take it seriously and do all that. But yeah, it's hard if you're covering one team or 4 teams. I was covering it at a stage there to, be as up on all 32 teams as you need to be to do something like that. And college football scope is way bigger than that.
And
go ahead.
All that's great. And I agree with everything you guys are saying. You can look at a final score and realize that Florida lost to South Florida and not put them in the ballot.
No, she doesn't. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
She deserves the crap she's getting.
She needs to be crushed for this.
She deserves the crap she's getting. I agree. And but again, I've done that. I have done that. Basketball sucks, man, because it's it's 2 results and I can't handle 2. My God. I have messed up, and what you say is, I screwed up.
Yeah,
that's what you say. Yep, I missed it. I screwed up.
I don't want to go into my process, which includes not doing anything.
Yeah, I know that I agree. Look, she's taking the heat, but I do think it is a symptom of the larger issue. And look, it does matter, and that's where she's wrong too. I'm sorry, but it does matter. Vanderbilt fans are pissed. Vanderbilt fans, when do they ever get to say, let's see a number in front of their teams? They never do, and they should this week. I mean, South Florida should be higher than they are. The preseason poll, it does. I heard Josh Pate kind of rant on this yesterday. Don't agree with everything he said, but I agree that the playoff committee, I mean, do they look at games? Do they have other data? Sure. But like, is the AP poll not somewhat of a template for them
It
when they
absolutely
start
is.
out?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not completely meaningless. People care about it, whether you like it or not. Thank God, even though you would like us, Robby, to go back to a time where, the voters gave Nebraska the national championship.
And see, now
Even
we're taking
though-
it too far.
Yes. I know. I'm just messing with you. But thankfully, it's not that important. It doesn't dictate the freaking national champion like it did for 60 years, but
Amazing.
it does matter. I know.
There you go.
Amazing, right?
We got a lot of Titans thoughts to get into with PK.
But not about Brian Callahan.
Coming up next to
Nope.
take your
Are
Are we
thoughts.
off? We're off. on-
615-737-1025.
We're done with that?
I yelled at everybody yesterday. So
You didn't hear it? It was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not always able to listen.
We might have to play some for you in the break.
a lot of screaming that went down. PK coming up next. Robby and Rexrode 1025 the game.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com with us for the next hour, talking all things Tennessee Titans, brought to you by Jimmy Kelly's Steakhouse, featuring their new rooftop dining experience. PK, I guess let's just go ahead and start on the Brian Callahan front. So between the end of the first half in Denver, where he gets really aggressive in the shadow of his own goal line after not really being all that aggressive throughout the course of the entire game, basically gift wraps a touchdown for Denver before the half, to then after the game, not knowing the rule of the Alec Io Manor play, and then his explanation the next day. It's been a tough couple of days here for Brian Callahan. He's caught a lot of strays with callers, with texters, with Titans fans, with
or even direct hits, even
direct hits,
intentionals.
What is your what's your big takeaway from all this in terms of the damage done by Brian Callahan in week 1?
Well, it wasn't a good day. And certainly with the fan base, he suffered mightily. In-house, I don't know. I mean, some time has passed, and if you look at things like I heard you talking about it, if Calvin Ridley turns around and doesn't botch that play in a terrible game, I think there's a first down had on a pretty good play design, on a play that they work on a ton at practice, this quick screen to the bunch of 3 targets to the right coming out of the end zone there. And if that's a first down, then there's no conversation. So, do you want him not to call that play because he's anticipating his offense botching it? As a screen call.
Yes, I'm going to first guess it, and I did. Yes. You hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off. You can't watch that play and say, "Oh, that's a first down."
I don't like.
I think they get 4 yards.
I don't like what he did there, but that play does need to be executed in a better fashion.
It'd be nice to know that Ridley.
It's a team failure there, not exclusively a Callahan failure. He's got to get out of that half at 6'3", and he fails to get out of that half at 6'3". On the not knowing the elbow thing, look, he's got to overrule anything. It doesn't matter what's coming into his ear. He's got to know the rule and all of that. I think maybe it's a situation, and now people are going to say, well, he needs to give up play calling. I think maybe it's a situation where he's moving on to the next call because he knows the thing. And he's relying on Rob Ridnour in his ear to tell him, and that guy botches it, and he's not looking at it in the way, say, Vrabel would be looking at it as a CEO coach, because he's coordinating, and so he's getting to the next call, which is 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 20. And so he's reliant on somebody else, and the somebody else is botching the thing. Now, he can't be reliant on the somebody else. The buck stops with him, and he's got to be deciding it and looking at it and know it, in the moment. So it's an utter failure, and then makes him look absolutely atrocious. And then he says what he says after the game. And then I think he starts off the press conference fantastically well. His opening thing is what he should say, misinterpreted, and go with that. But then for some reason, when he's asked about it again, he should say, look, I said I misinterpreted it. Just go back to what I said at the beginning. That's what I've said it. He goes again, and then he gets into the misspoken. And so then he's saying 2 different things, and he looks like he's trying to tread water, and he really messed that whole thing up. I think his intention was to come out and say he botched it, which he did. But then 6 minutes later in the same press conference, he said something different, which made it look like he was swimming.
I mean, like he lied, right? Right? I mean, something's not true.
Yeah. Well, the second part wasn't true. He didn't misspeak.
Yeah.
Because he said he misinterpreted. So I don't know why you changed course in the middle of that press conference. It was somewhat of a panic. Like he was ready for the moment until the moment came up a second time.
He had the scripted apology and I agree. It was fine. There you go. Misinterpreted. I botched it.
Then it came up a second time, and he
Well, I
either
know
felt
the
need to
rules.
further,
He
he couldn't stick with it.
Okay, so people are going to get mad. We're talking about this again. So you mentioned that it's bad with the fan base. No doubt. It's bad with the fan base. Media, okay? Fan base. And it's totally justified. And this is one of those things that it's out there. This is one of the few times Tennessee Titans getting some NFL attention.
Yeah, they are.
Congratulations, because people are talking about this. So you mentioned the front office. Front office, Amy Adams Strunk, his own locker room. What does this mean for those groups of people?
I think he needs a really good bounce back. You know, he was starting at even for a new season, right? Doesn't help you for your first game to include these things that cause this, even if they're not perceived as giant things in the house, which I think they have to be perceived as some level of thing, not as monumental as maybe outside. But when there's this groundswell and the whole city's on it, I mean, he's got to dig back. You know, Denard Wilson said yesterday, we have a thing in this building. When you screw up, you got to make up for it. He was talking about Jeff Simmons, you know, and so I expect him to make up for it this week. Well, I think that's kind of where Callahan is, whether that's fair or not. And it probably is fair. But then you don't want him like overreaching to do something to make up for it. You just need him to get in there and coach.
Well, to me, he's in desperate need of a game where you walk away from it saying, man, what a well-coached game by the Tennessee Titans. Brian Callahan, play calling was on. They did a great job. The penalties weren't a big problem. Like they just look like an organized, well-coached football team. Like he's in big-time need of that now. And I knew that. I mean, he was going to be in big-time need of that at some point this year. We've talked about that. Like you have to show some progress. But I think with this fan base, like he's in big-time need of it now.
And
I didn't expect that to happen that early. In the year.
I don't like to nitpick play calling as if I know better, but you do have a sense.
He asked you about that on Sunday.
You do have a sense of flow, and his flow just sometimes seems like it's not there. Like the play where Ridley beat the ball into the ground is a great play. I mean, Ridley came open. Every defender was taken somewhere by something, and that play is a big hitter. And Ridley spikes the ball to the ground instead of catching it. I mean, I feel bad for Brian Callahan on that play. There's a play that shows that he can design a play and call a play and get a significant gain in a crucial moment.
I think we already knew that.
Right.
I don't think play calling was some huge, it was way down the list.
Well, I still think there are people that think that it's a problem.
Yeah. But again, that to me is if that's high on your list of issues, like after last year, then I think that you really underrated how bad Levis was, how bad the offensive line was, how bad the overall team is, right?
But for them to play a game,
I mean, we know, I know he knows offense. He's been in the NFL forever. He can design a play and call a play.
For them to play a game,
but can he be a coach
where Cam
of an NFL team?
For them to play a game where Cam Ward was pretty good,
yeah,
and for it to be like nowhere near the list of things that the first half dozen things that we talk about, it really says something.
For him to play a game where Cam Ward was really good, the defense held the Broncos to 20 points, they covered the spread, and this is what we're talking about this week. That kind of shows you.
I do want to put the brakes on. Was Cam Ward really good? He made some really impressive looking throws. Yep. I don't know that he was
nowhere near the reason they lost.
Sure, yes. It should have been more. There should be more. He should be more of the story.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was probably going to be the story of the game. I thought they'd go up there and probably get handled, but that there was a chance that he would play well enough that we would say, hey, look, the Titans aren't very good like we thought, but the quarterback showed something. I think that's the shame of that game is you come out of it and you say, well, Cam Ward did show enough, and there's some Callahan related Cam Ward promise, and maybe it's not going to matter if Brian Callahan's coaching like that in terms of his future
and talking like that.
We'll get more PK's thoughts on the offensive side of the ball for the Titans coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. I got some tickets to give away to see Judas Priest and Alice Cooper at First Bank Amphitheater on Sunday, September 21st. Be caller 4, 615-737-1025. Caller 4 will win a pair of tickets to see Judas Priest and Alice Cooper on Sunday, September the 21st. Paul Kuharsky with us here on the program. PK, not a whole lot of help for Cam Ward in game 1 against Denver. You had the offensive line with some issues. Obviously, J.C. Latham's health is a concern, and we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. But 6 sacks, 12 quarterback hits for the Broncos. We mentioned the drops, Ridley dropping the ball. Orlovsky said the Titans had 8 drops. I think we've determined the actual number is somewhere around 4. So either way, catch the ball if you're the Titans receivers
Still too
out
many.
there. Too many, for sure. So what did you make of the lack of help that Cam Ward got? And how concerning is that through 1 week, albeit against what we know is going to be a pretty good defense in the Denver Broncos?
Well, I tried to stick with this Ridley concept that chemistry was great, but that him running out of bounds at 2 yards on a 3rd and 4 when he thought there was a cornerback there and there wasn't was a Ridley thing, not a Levis thing. And we didn't know if he was beyond that. And the things that he did Sunday are Calvin Ridley issues that make Calvin Ridley a number 2 receiver and not a number 1 receiver. We haven't heard from him yet. I imagine he'll be I imagine we talked to him today. I imagine he's very humble and pissed off at himself and talks about getting better and not doing that stuff. But, even if he doesn't do it, it was a big contributing factor to losing a game that they could have won. That, and then Dan Moore, is Dan Moore a guy who's just fine against average pass rushers and bad against good pass rushers? And then the Titans think that all the good pass rushers are in the AFC North, and they're not going to see them in places like Denver.
Wait till this week.
Yeah. Jared Verse is a good pass rusher, and is going to provide problems the same way that Denver did. So, we're constantly stuck in this, is it the talent, the penalties? I'm in the same thing. I'm going to try to write about this week. They commit the penalties, but I think at a certain point, a guy is overmatched talent wise, and his choice is to get beat on the play or to commit the penalty. And oftentimes the penalty is a better choice, particularly if you're putting the quarterback at risk. And so 131 yards of penalties is unacceptable.
Yeah, sure.
But giving up a touchdown throw or giving up a hit on the quarterback is actually a worse fate.
So you're pro penalty is what you're telling me.
I'm saying that's where they are.
Yeah. No, I've thought about that. Like in terms of Brownlee, I think is a good example. He's very handsy. Right. And he's got to, and Denard Wilson talked about that yesterday. He's got to find a way to rein that.
Defensive holding is definitely better than 40-yard reception.
Right.
But
exactly.
Brownlee to sit there after the game and say, I control what I control.
Yeah.
And not understand that one of the things you control is altering your game to fit within the parameters that the officials have set forth.
Yeah.
It just sounds, there's a belligerence to it. I mean, there's a belligerence to his game that is good, but if you're insisting you're not going to change, or I am going to prove myself right, I'm going out there and playing my style, and they can throw flags all day long. Denard Wilson stood up there yesterday and said, no, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you proving, Jarvis, by saying that? You sound ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was good that he sort of rebuked that publicly a little bit,
Yeah.
But I mean, Jarvis sometimes says stuff, right? After games.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, hey, nobody's going to say this.
53 with a
But it
light
was real
breeze.
cold out there,
Yeah.
baby. It was
I'll be
43.
the one with the courage.
We did not want to tackle the Washington Commanders today. It was real cold out there.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I mean, what about the Simmons penalty? I mean, that was I think most people have called it. There were some people in the moment who were like, that's ridiculous officiating. I'm like, dude, in 2005 you can complain about that in the NFL. That's
Just don't do it. And Jeff,
the whistle blew. I watched it several times. Like the whistle was blowing before he got within. He was a yard and a half away, and then he shoved him.
He
Like,
can't stop himself.
ridiculous.
But I will say, after the game, to Jeff's credit,
Yeah.
he did not
Yeah.
put that on the officials. That was the most accountable comment from Jeff Simmons. That wasn't a forced apology by the team that I can remember in some time. So
No, I totally
forward
agree.
progress.
Yeah, absolutely. On that front. And by the way, like that penalty aside, which I know you can't separate it from the game because it's such a critical point in the game. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, he was
in the
really
game.
good.
I thought he was really good. That was the best I've seen him play in a long time. I thought.
Yeah. No, he's gonna be a difference maker this year.
I will
Question is
say-
how many other guys are gonna be with him?
Joe touched on this, though. I mean, you can't take away the defensive credit. That 3 turnovers forced, that's great. That's a point of emphasis and everything. I thought Denver's offense sucked.
Horrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that was a Denver offense thing much more than it was the Titans making Denver's offense look horrible.
I thought.
I mean, they took advantage of it, and more power to them. That's a good job by them, holding them to 20 points
Agreed.
and getting the turnovers and all of that.
But I also
The
thought, other
Bo-Nix
than that
looked-
one big run, I didn't see many busts. Right? Like I thought
Yeah.
they were sound.
Yeah.
And that's
important.
something.
And speaking of that, at Callahan, in reviewing Cam, started again with the operational. I don't want to hear about the operational. He's a number 1 pick quarterback, and he had the operational stuff down in the preseason.
Yeah.
I'm not giving Cam Ward any points for getting people in and out of the huddle. Let's get the play call in a more timely fashion, give the guy a chance to get going and everything. But to me, the pre-snap credit he gets is for whatever recognition and adjusting he does or whatever. But I'm not patting him on the head for getting people in and out of the huddle. And that's no criticism of Cam Ward. I think he would be kind of like, dude, I'm doing what
It's my
I'm
job.
supposed to.
Yeah.
Don't pat me on the head for getting us in and out of the huddle.
I mean, some rookie.
I mean, is there
first game.
accomplishment for Cam Ward getting them in and out of the huddle for what Cam Ward has shown us to be? I think we're past that.
No, I would totally agree. So what's the concern level with JC Latham as we enter into this week?
Well, my concern level is they didn't play very well before he limped off, and seemed kind of out of it. Is that unfair?
No, that's
and then it didn't seem like any event triggered the hip. Like all of a sudden he just started limping. And this was an issue that's back. And then his replacement was awful. Udo. If they've got an awful third tackle again.
Oh no, Udo.
I would make the case for Blake Hance, who was the best outside lineman they brought in. I know he's more guard than tackle, but they called him a swing. Got to do better than that. Get an injury report on Latham. We'll see if he participates today. I don't really have a feel, but if you're dropping a lineman in the first game, the line was not nearly good enough. And I thought some of those plays where Cam got sacked, and kind of surrounded, it didn't look to me, Holtz and Callahan both answered, that maybe on a play or two, the guy who was supposed to be the outlet got caught up in something or whatever. It didn't look like he had a solution.
I agree.
Quick solution. I mean, especially when that, the second play after the
Muff.
first sack after the muff, it's like, this has got to be something to try to just get 4 or 5 and have a chance to kick a field goal. And instead it looked long developing to me. Maybe someone got hung up, but that's what it looked like. And it was just like Tecmo Bowl. You pick the play your opponent, and the whole defense just.
And he didn't
buries
even
you.
have a chance really to throw it away. I don't know if he would have had a chance to get it to a quick outlet, but you'd like to see that there's some kind of help for him.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll take your thoughts and questions for PK on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, the game.
Same thing with Callahan. Like Callahan, I personally am not a huge Brian Callahan guy anymore.
Whoa.
Because Paul Kuharsky asked him a question. He basically just like, well, did you know the play, Paul? It's like, well, no, he didn't know the play, Mr. Callahan. You. That's why he's asking you about it.
Jeez, we just finished week 1. We cannot have this much.
Look, I didn't expect to stand on a soapbox for Paul Kuharsky today either. But now that we're here. And look, Coach Callahan, it hasn't been great for you. You don't have to start, to your point, it is week 1. The first question you get from the most senior reporter you got, your response is, well, you got the playbook? How are you supposed to know? It's like, no, dude, he doesn't. That's why he's asking the question. Jeez Louise.
He is set in tone, AJ. You're right. Coach Callahan said, I'm not with it this year. Just want to let you all know this ain't how it's going to be.
PK, a nice point of discussion on the Pat McAfee show yesterday.
Kuharsky.
He pronounced it pretty well, especially the second time. Who is that dude?
That's Boston Connor.
Is that the dude who does the Lou Holtz impersonation?
No.
Oh, okay.
I need to
I think he's is he a Titan fan?
DM with him.
I don't think so.
Oh,
he's a Patriots fan.
He knows his NFL.
He's been hanging out with Vrabel.
I mean, I appreciate what he said there, but I had no beef with what Callahan did.
Paul, do you know the plays?
Here's my beef. The biggest thing that honestly pissed me off about the presser Monday, seriously, beyond like I know the rules, is the whole, well, things don't work out and then you guys second guess. Go right back to that moment. I don't care if you have the greatest play call in the history of football.
The whole press box.
Before you ever take a snap, they only have 2 timeouts. They cannot pin you into a run, and then we get the ball because we use all our timeouts.
And
just take
on
the lead into halftime. I don't care. I don't agree with you that's a first down on that receiver screen. It's like 4 yards.
The whole press box said it immediately. Like, what are you doing? You gotta get out of it.
I understand all coaches want to believe this. They would just want to believe that we're idiots. We don't know anything about the play. So we like to, whatever doesn't work, we second guess. I hate second guessing play calls that don't. I hate that because it is stupid. This is first guessing game management, and it's a gigantic failure. And he doesn't want to acknowledge this. I mean, he should have, to me, that should be as much of a point of apology. I understand not knowing the rules is that's a little bit above and beyond, but that's a game management complete fail.
Well, my thing was, and you guys tell me what you think. We're honest with each other. If you're going to go there, go vertical.
Yeah. If you're going to, because that's the thing. You have to go, 50 yards? 50 yards in 40 seconds to get in field goal range?
I hate that too. I hate that too.
I agree. But if
you're going to do it,
then you're going to get a safety.
If your decision is we're going aggressive, they're going aggressive by throwing a screen.
Well, he did say that on one of the plays, right? He said that they had an over route against man that he thought they'd be able to hit, right? No, don't do it.
They got away with a hold safety. That should have been called a holding and a safety.
Yeah,
I think on that one of those plays.
Yeah,
Cam did a very nice job keeping them out of a safety.
Yes,
there. It's just a bad sequence. It was a bad sequence, and you knew because they're the Titans. You knew when they punt the ball.
Yeah.
First off, you're punting the ball. I mean, it starts with the sequence, but then he's got no space to punt, so he's got a quick punt because he's punting from as short a distance as is humanly possible given the geography of the game. So it's going to be a shorter punt. You set them up, penalty, one throw with Snead off the field. I mean, you've rationed his snaps or whatever, but for that play, you can't have him on the field. For that 20 seconds, you can't have him on the field.
You're a first quarter only guy.
Yeah.
We just need to set the tone with you, and then you can sit and watch the rest of the game while we suck in the back end.
I mean, Darrell Baker was target number 1 as soon as Snead was off the field. It was encouraging that Snead showed some life when he was on the field. But what are we going to get him up from 20 snaps to 22 snaps? You're going to get 25 snaps?
And by the way, I also love how quick he was just to immediately throw the coaching staff under the bus after the game, too. He's like, yeah, man, it's them, man. I am ready to get out there and play. It's the coach. The coach is the one that's keeping me on the sideline.
Well, I don't understand like this. So Callahan's, it's like, okay, so if he can practice more. Well, he played an entire season at Kansas City at a high level and didn't practice, right?
Yeah. My
if there's a pitch
question-
count, don't you not use any pitches in practice and you just use them on Sunday?
Well, my question too is like they want to get him ready so that he doesn't have soft tissue injury stuff. Well, nobody's been able to explain why they couldn't start him earlier in practice.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he have come off PUP earlier in practice to have a longer runway to be in a position where you're not so concerned about soft tissues now? Because he said he was ready earlier. So, and players are always going to say they're ready earlier. And I know you're not going to spell out the injury stuff, but there's such an air of mystery about this. Is it more like, can't you say, well, it was more serious than you guys know? If you said that, then we'd be all right. But he said at a camp in June, he felt better than he's ever felt. So based on that, something's going on. There's this huge air of mystery, and you're kind of making it look like he doesn't want to go. He says he wants to go. He looked pretty good when he went. You looked awful once he's out. Like, explain the thing.
Oh, and also, like, can you save 5 snaps for the second half? Like, hey, we might need this guy in the second half.
We'll be up by 3 touchdowns. We don't need him then. We're fine.
I guess I understand that where like you can't restart a guy stretch wise, keep him loose. Like they're worried about soft tissue injuries. And if you say, all right, you're about done, but be ready for 3 snaps in the third quarter, the stop and startedness of it could be an issue with regard to that.
Okay. I mean, you do have bikes and stuff on the sideline, but okay. So you're saying that the pitch count is not about the knee?
No, I think the pitch count is about the knee, but what they're saying is it's also this restarting. They don't want him to suffer of soft tissue injury in his return from the knee. And I think it was about mileage. So I think they basically monitored how much he ran. And when he ran a certain amount, they were like, all right, that's enough.
Interesting. Let's head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Bulldog and Brentwood. Bulldog, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thank you for taking my call. A couple of things I wanted to throw out here and tell you about some of my concerns. One, I think the Titans fan base, when it comes to the coach, if you remember with the Chicago game at the beginning of last year, he basically came out in the press conference afterwards, kind of throwing Will Levis under the bus by saying, had we just punted the ball every time in the second half, we would have won the ball game. What I would say to him is, had we made the decisions to run better management at the end of the first half, we wouldn't have given up 7 points there, number one. Number two, when you get the ball with a turnover in plus territory, if you run the ball 3 times, you kick a field goal rather than going back ever how many yards we did. And he was very clear in wanting to call him out there, which he needed to be, number one. Number two, we all remember on TV the close-up camera shot that got ridiculed where he's saying, whatever are you doing to Will Levis when he makes the boneheaded play in week 2 or 3. So you've got that self-evaluation there, buddy. We got to make sure we're not making boneheaded plays, number 2. And the other thing that is concerning to me is you got the big money we paid for Dan Moore. I didn't think he looked too great week 1. Granted, he's going against a good pass rusher, but guess what? There's going to be more of those coming down the line. And number 2, now we got Latham hurt on the other side. It looks like our depth again is about as deep as a kiddie pool when it comes to offensive linemen. Now we're going to find ourselves in a situation where Cam Ward is running for his life and kind of worried about some development in there. So I think looking forward, that is the concern that I have, and love to hear you guys on that.
Thank you, Bulldog. Appreciate it. I mean, look, I'm totally with him. Like if Dan Moore is what you were scared to death he was the day they signed him, Joe, and that is not really all that good, but he made it to free agency. He's a starting left tackle, and he's okay against like average pass rushers. But when you go up against those guys, he's just getting torched all game. That's not good. And if Latham's hurt, I mean, they could be in some big trouble for as long as he's out. And look, I'm with PK. Like, I didn't think he was all that good before, and my expectations for him are really high. Like he's a 7th overall pick. You drafted him to be your franchise left tackle. You punted on that after 1 year. He needs to be an elite right tackle. And I need to start to see some signs that that's what he's going to be.
They need to be better this week. And I mean, if Latham's not out there, I mean, you're right. You're right in some of the problems you were in last year. It didn't take long, and I talked about them being good out of the gate when they signed and adjusted everything, and they were not good out of the gate. Now that's a bad matchup. This isn't a great matchup, but it's not as bad. You're home. Show us something. Prove something. Show us you're better.
I think they have more pass rushers, though. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you're right. The
more
home
numbers.
aspect is better, I think. Although I also think the Boo Birds may not be like restrained long Sunday. What do you think?
Directed
about
to
that?
Callahan?
Yeah, but the boo,
Yeah, the whole thing.
or the line,
The whole
but
thing,
they'll boo
yeah.
after the play, and not in a way that affects it during the play.
That's
right?
true.
So
That's true.
during the play, do things that don't prompt boos after the play. I mean, they really need to. And this is not a good matchup. I mean,
No.
Look, the Rams in many ways are what I think the Titans want to be. They play clean and smart. Are they super talented? No, they're. I mean, they have a lot of talent, but they're
not the
front
Eagles.
seven.
Yeah.
Is,
but they're
freaking
well
talented.
coached and they play smart and efficiently and find ways to win. That's kind of exactly the opposite of what we just saw.
I mean, you say this is what they want to be. They have a surplus of good pass rushers, and they have receivers. There's two things that make them a little different from the Titans. There's a popular thing this week, PK, and I think it's kind of goofy. I understand like it's a natural thing people say, but I think it's like kind of misunderstanding one, what's going on in the league, and also, like how this is built here. But people talking about, well, Brian Callahan needs to give up play calling duties.
Yeah, I just think it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like Brian Callahan needs to give up play calling duties so that his offensive coordinator, who's his chief disciple and has helped him build and install this offense, can take over play caller duties, or Mike McCoy, who he was a disciple of, but who came here to kind of like, help add a voice to the system, could take over play caller duties. I just don't know what I think you think the alternatives are way different than the alternatives are. The alternatives are very much part of the trunk of the tree. The saying.
Well, yeah, and also like if as we talked about this yesterday, but if that's the case, then
he's getting fired,
right? Then you just lose your job, right? Like the whole point of you that's what you are. You are the play calling head coach. So if you're not the play calling head coach, then why are you the head coach?
Well, if you're not a play calling head coach,
CEO
and you're 3-15,
aspect is not working out well.
Yeah, you're getting fired. Like if he gives up play calling, he's signing his own death warrant.
And also, if you want to speed forward, say this season goes incredibly poorly and they're in a situation where people are calling for his head. I know people are calling for his head now, but in a more realistic time frame are calling for his head in late November.
Right, when it wouldn't be a complete humiliation for the organization to actually fire him.
Right. Well, is his dad stay?
Right. That's a good question.
Like, that's pretty complicated.
Got to have an interim head coach and offensive line coach.
And
I don't think Bill Callahan's going to hang around.
And so is it beneficial for you to fire your head coach and have your offensive line coach walk out the door, no matter what you think about the performance of his offensive line coach? You're then promoting, by the way, the hand-picked assistant coach of the offensive line coach. The staff is filled with Callahan people. So if you're getting rid of Callahan in some way, shape, or form, all of the replacements, and this is the same in the
that
case
happens a lot,
of
though.
everything, you're getting more of the same. Like, I don't think it solves a lot of things. You need to be hoping that Brian Callahan rights the ship and rooting for Ward. You want Ward progress. Ward progress is the best thing that can happen for this organization. And I hate to break it to you, if Ward progress happens, it's going to happen in large part or in good part because of Brian Callahan. And that's a good thing for the organization.
We'll have more with PK coming up next. One more segment talking all things Titans. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Paul Kuharsky with us here on the program. Let's head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in T-Dog to the show. T-Dog, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, man. I appreciate you guys. I've got two things for PK. For one, I agree with everything that he said in regards to the Callahan system, but I'm going to take a different spin on it and say all of those reasons actually make it better for him to not be the play caller because if he's got people in that are Callahan people already, then they are going to call the game like him. He can actually focus on the game instead of worrying about the details and the minutia that he keeps missing about the games, and also bad calling that he does. Maybe they'll actually look and make the right calls when it comes to being on the goal line and trying to get out before halftime with a 6-3 lead. So that's my thing. Maybe that's a good reason for him to not be the play caller. And then for two, PK, we need you on the radio, man. Why don't you just not like take over that hour, the 3 to 6 hour, 2 to 6 hour, man, and get your own show, because we need you, brother.
Yeah, well, since I own the station, I'll just insert myself wherever I want in the lineup.
Why don't you break my neck right now? Kill me with fire right now and sit right here.
I'm not sure what minutia he's. I mean, outside of the non-challenge of the Io Manor catch, I need a list of things that Callahan has missed.
Well,
because he's busy calling plays.
Yeah, I don't get the idea of like the.
Well, again, let me tell you this: if you are concerned that your head coach is missing out on the overseer part of the job because he's too worried about calling plays, fire your coach.
Yeah.
There are how many coaches around the league? Right. Half the league is able to do it. If your guy can't, fire him.
Yeah. There's no excuse for not. Oh, they have 2 timeouts and we're up 6-3 and they have a great defense and we're at our own 5. Let's let it rip, boys.
Yeah.
No.
Do you think that decision changes?
Right.
Yeah.
If I wasn't calling plays, I would have been able to recognize anything that like an 8-year-old could have figured out.
Is there a pace problem of stuff coming in? I don't know that the rhythm of stuff coming in and the offense getting to the line and everybody being able to assess and everything is what it needs to be, what it should be 18 games in. That would be
that's a great question.
I mean, if you're complaining about Callahan and the play calling stuff, I think you've got some stuff to complain about there.
Yeah, no, he's got to be more efficient. We did yesterday. We talked about play callers. Someone pointed out to me, like Nick Sirianni is an example of a guy who did it. Now the difference in that is, and it's funny because even
talking about giving it up.
The difference, of course, is he had been to the Super Bowl with that team, right? So like he had like there's a huge difference when you have some skins on the wall, for lack of a better term, as opposed to this, when it's like, well, if you're not good at that, then why are you the coach?
Why are you still here?
That's when you're 3-15. That's the question.
Exactly. And that's my point. Like if there are some coaches, if you can demonstrate that you know what you're doing, you get a little bit more wiggle room. When you're 3-15, you do not get that benefit of the doubt, and you shouldn't.
All right. Yeah. And again, I think his play calling,
it's the beginning of a surrender.
I agree.
Of the job.
I think his play calling is like way, 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 way down my list of things that I'm concerned about with this team.
Right.
It's okay. It's fine.
I think people are saying that play calling is
getting in the way.
They don't like it, but it's getting in the way of CEO.
Well, by the way, the other aspects of this team were pretty good week 1. Good special teams.
Great special.
Good defense. So the CEO aspect of you guys do your job, well, that's fine.
That's
but your thing, though. What's going on with your thing?
Yeah.
Because that's your baby.
Yeah.
No.
You're right. It's his thing. That's the problem. And he's got to fix it. And giving it away doesn't really make a lot of sense in terms of him fixing it.
I'd like to be a Bones Fossil special teams assistant. How about that?
Hey, Fossil did good. Maybe you'll start screaming Fossil just for the positive now. It's like the anti-Ackerman.
Doesn't ring.
Bones!
Come off the tongue like Ackerman.
PK, thank you, sir.
Bones built a pound.
Don't block the box. Be sure to lock your locks.
That does it for us today. Next man up with Jake Lyman. Coming up next, you're listening to 102.5 The Game.